What is that? Oh shit, what is that? Who you fighting?
Hello guys, welcome to Lumberjack Koala. As always, I'm Koala.
Lumberjack.
And we're going to be on a very sensitive subject today. And some of y'all might get hurt. Anyways, this video is about gameplay and how people get mixed up when it comes to the word gameplay. I feel like gameplay is a very subjective subject, right? Kind of like comedy. Mm-hmm. Subjective. You know, whatever tickles your funny bone, that's just going to be on you. But gameplay, I mean, let's focus more on that. There's different types of it, man. You know, you got your shooters, you got your, action RPGs, you got your RPGs, you got your turn-based, you got your racing games, fighting games, you got all these.
Real-time strategy.
Yeah, you got a shitload of games out here that all have different gameplays, and they all have unique gameplays, whether it be to Last of Us cinematic gameplay, to Call of Duty's really simple controllers. Gameplay doesn't have to just be about the controls. You know, there's little things in the game that affect gameplay, such as like maybe the map system, maybe the buying system, you know?
Yeah.
Well, what are some gameplays that you like mechanical-wise?
Shadow of Mordor. I like the whole Nemesis system, because that kept you on your feet.
What is that?
You know how games have their enemies, you can kill them to like a simple enemy, a random level 1, if they kill you, they can become a warlord, and they gain a name.
Oh, like I heard about it's like a system based thing.
Any Uruk on there, doesn't matter. Like they look like random NPCs, but if one of them kills you, they rank up.
I think I seen that in a video where the guy like finally started doing all this shit in the game.
Yeah,
it is some big, like you said, what is it called, Overlord or something like that. He just came and fucking bashed the shit out of him, and he was
like, come out of the blue too. Like if you they really hate you, they will hunt you down.
That's something.
The gameplay pretty much plays like an advanced. Everything else plays like a better Assassin's Creed, though, sneaking around and all that. But what really makes it stand out is the Nemesis system.
My type of gameplay that I like the most always be like collectathons or like collectible stuff around the map. Like in Last of Us, I know people say it gets repetitive, and it does. Gameplay is always going to be repetitive. I mean, whatever game you're into, eventually it's going to get repetitive. It's the style of, everyone there is a stylistically repetitive gameplay. Whether you're playing Pokemon, you always farming to level up, right?
Yeah.
You playing Last of Us, usually it's like go into this building, farm for shit, then get out, then fight clickers, fight enemies, and keep on going on. The War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, those just sit there and point and shoot and keep on going. But the story is what mattered in that game as well. But my favorite type of gameplay, doing the collector's item, the power cores that were in Infamous. Yeah. You say you had power shards. Yeah. I had to go find them all in the city. I deliberately went to go find every single one of them. All, I think 100 of them in the first game. And like once you keep on collecting them, you get the power up to finally sense them throughout the city, and it was just amazing. That's my type of gameplay. Now, your type of gameplay, you might think our type of gameplay is just stupid, but we can say the same thing about your gameplay as well. You like Call of Duty, that's your type of thing, right? Yeah. Hey, but at the end of the day, gameplay is gameplay, regardless if you're playing something like
gameplay like Diablo. You got Persona 5 gameplay, which I will give credit to Persona 5, because if it weren't for Persona 5, I still wouldn't be turn-based games. For the longest, I hated it. I hated turn-based gameplay, but Persona 5 got me into it. I really like it now.
Best example of gameplay is when it comes to diversity. You have like Ratchet and Clank child-friendly gameplay of collecting all those bolts and destroying enemies with just square, and you got your shooting and all your different guns. You got gameplay like Resistance, where you had so many different guns, they all had their own ability and all that. You have games like Batman, where you can either take it on to a stealth point of view, or just go in there and just head on, do whatever you want. And it was a simple control: square to hit, triangle to reverse, circle to stun, stuff like that. And God of War was similar like that, with more of an aggressive, camera stuff, and without the stealth. They have similar things. They're all being influenced to each other. And, ever since like Arkham Asylum and all that, they influence other games. And gameplay isn't always going to be fresh, but it's always changing. Little tweaks. But anyway, that's the point of this video. But we want to get down into another segment that's coming up right now.
Last week I gave a fire safety talk, and nobody paid any attention. It's my own fault for using PowerPoint. PowerPoint is boring. People learn in lots of different ways, but experience is the best teacher.
People's opinion with gameplay. How does someone say that Last of Us doesn't have gameplay but yet Zelda has gameplay? How does someone say that the God of War is repetitive, but then they go on to play Pokemon? How in the world do they say that Spider-Man is just copying Batman? I don't get it. Yeah, they might be copying off of each other, but that's something we kind of got used to. Do you want to live in a world where we had PS2 where every fucking game had its own weird take on controls and gameplay? Yeah. I didn't like that. When I got used to the PS3, every shooter was the same, more or less. You know, L1, R2, L1, L2, or R1, R2, they were either the shooting aim buttons or the grenade buttons. You could tweak them as you pleased. I mean, what if you want the triggers, you have the triggers. The triggers on the PS3 suck. I can admit that. The controller wasn't as best. We got so used to shooting games being left stick is move, right stick is aim. And then action shooters like Uncharted and Ratchet and Clank started using those, and then Killzone started using those. Call of Duty used it more and more, refined it and all that. And now today, we all resemble that setup as a shooter. But then you have games like Bioshock. Technically, there's no aiming. Your left trigger is your atom powers or your... what's it called? Your powers, and then your right trigger is your shooting button for your gun. And in L1, R1 are your changing your abilities or changing your gun that you have. You can hold R1 and just use the right analog stick or left analog stick and change your weapons on the fly. Or you can use the L1 button and change all the atom perks. It's still a shooter, but it has a tweaked, redefined way of doing gameplay for that control. And then other things like maps, like Days Gone, where you can use the touchpad and kind of just go back and forth with it with your finger going throughout the map. Even Red Dead Redemption, its map was vast, but it was simple. It looked kind of like the GTA. But the thing that ticks me off the most though when it comes to this gameplay is like I'm telling you guys, why do y'all guys, some people, say that this certain game, Battlefield, doesn't have good gameplay, but then they sit there and play Call of Duty?
Well, to me, the biggest, I always bring this up all the time. My biggest confused stuff. I don't understand how people see Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 as different games. To me, they're the same game, just different setting.
Yeah, but people just want to, bash on games to be bashed on. And then they say, they're saying that Last of Us Part 2 has no gameplay, and then they're sitting there, it's just repetitive. What do you think God of War was? Every now and then I was facing the fucking, what are they called, the ogres?
Yeah.
You were facing them every now and then. Same fucking dude. Different color. Same mechanics and everything. No one bitches about that. And Last of Us Part 2 is trying to mix it up for you. I don't know how many times I had a subtlety for it and all that. Pokemon has a repetitive gameplay. But no one talks shits about that, But then they sit there and play other games and they say they're repetitive. Like Dynasty Warrior.
Yeah, Dynasty Warrior.
Like Dynasty Warrior, you're just going around just killing people, and just leveling up. And it's the same thing over and over. And I'm pretty sure it gets tiring. But no one ever brings up that. And let's get into one thing, just for a couple of minutes, is when people say outdated gameplay.
Yeah.
Every gameplay that you see, guys, today is always outdated. Call of Duty's been doing the same control scheme ever since Modern Warfare back on the PS3.
Yep.
People don't bash on that at all. And then people say that's a redefined setup. That's a good gameplay, but it's the same shit every year, guys. All because they made the Dolphin Dive a slide button now. Big whoop. There was some good tweaks in the new Modern Warfare, guys. Yeah, you can mount your gun on stuff.
Yeah.
That's amazing. The knife system's a lot better, a lot more crunchier.
Yeah.
Other than fucking Black Ops 3, where it's like some boxing gloves hits and all that.
Run around with a sword.
Maybe we're going to end this off on this segment because we're going to the next segment, which is...
It's out in the hall!
No, we don't know that. The smoke could be coming through an air duct.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm! Wait! Everybody calm down!
The problem with the community and what they think about gameplay.
It's to this point that how the media makes fun of gamers and stuff like that, saying there are insults and stuff like at this point, you guys deserve it. I'm just sick and tired of it. They just look at any comment section of The Last of Us, how stupid people are acting.
They're giving the game a bad rap because it has bad gameplay. I understand y'all talking about the shit that happened. No spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But the shit that happens in the game, people are taking it way out of proportion. But then they like to add in the gameplay is repetitive. It's more or less the same as the original.
But that's what pisses me off. They're saying like it's repetitive and stuff, but then you guys and they say the one thing they confused me saying the gameplay mechanics are outdated. So were the gameplay mechanics for Red Dead Redemption 2, but nobody complained about it.
And it's weird how reviewers will say that the gameplay is outdated, but that wouldn't affect the score of the game, guys. That's weird. But apparently for Last of Us Part 2, everybody's just like, oh, the gameplay affects the score. And here's another thing: gameplays is diverse, right? When we give 10 out of 10 on Uncharted and we give 10 out of 10 on a Call of Duty game, yes, they're 10 out of 10s for their appropriate genre. You don't sit there and say like, oh, well, you gave this game a 10 out of 10, but you gave Call of Duty a fucking a 7 out of 10 or something like that. Or you give Call of Duty a higher number than another game. Well, you gotta think about it, guys. Some games belong in their own genre.
Yeah.
You can't compare a racing game to a shooting game. You can't compare a fighting game to a strategy game. You can't compare a action RPG to a MOBA game. You can't do that, guys. You can compare, the stylistic gameplays, but you can't sit there and say like, oh, this and this are the same. They're two different types of genres. So there's two types of crowds of people that enjoy those type of games.
No, but they complain about the smallest thing. Now, it was one video I was watching this dude. This when Days Gone came out, and the guy was busting out laughing like, this game's so stupid. You know why? Because the flashlight was not being realistic.
Yeah, I don't know how many other fucking games did that.
The Last of Us, the first
Last of Us 2 does that.
Yeah, like the flashlight follows around where you're looking. It doesn't follow the character.
I don't know, guys. I like seeing my shit in front of me when I'm playing a game. It doesn't have to be fully 100% realistic.
And the funny thing, the guy spent like a good 20 minutes laughing like, oh my god, this game's so stupid. He's just like, how could they not get the flashlight right?
Then he had a gameplay about Last of Us 1. He's like, this game's fucking amazing. It's fucking...
That's why I'm laughing, because he was playing it. He said those exact words, this game is so good, yada, yada, yada. And then...
I'm like, what about the flashlight then?
Yeah.
You sit there and praise... fucking Red Dead Redemption 2, but I guarantee you half of you in the community went to the fucking settings and changed it up just so it can be comfortable for you. Because that was one thing that turned me off on that game.
Gameplay was not the gameplay,
yeah.
Shooting mechanics were terrible.
But you don't see me going out there complaining about that. That's just something that turned me off on the game. I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't complete the game solely on that. Battlefield, I don't know what it is with me. I think it's just my eyes. I think it's just the sensitivity. But every time I change around the settings, even I watch other YouTubers change their settings, I can't get it to not have a dead zone. You feel that dead zone, don't you?
Yeah.
That shit feels weighted. I mean, so does Resident Evil 7 does that too. And it's weird because when you put the VR, that dead zone's obsolete.
Yeah.
Because they want to make you feel like Ethan. He's an inexperienced guy with a gun, so that's why they put it so weighted. So when you move your gun, it doesn't sway as fast. But then when I'm playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, it just feels so natural,
Yeah.
And that all affects gameplay, but the community doesn't ever focus on those.
No, because it's just, I don't know how to describe it. You see, this is one thing about what we have about community. They complain, saying, we need something new. We need more gameplay.
We need something.
And then they do something new, and we don't like it. Go back. And that's why again, to the Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5 thing. Everybody's like, oh, Battlefield 1 sucks. It's terrible. It's all this. Like, how did we get here? How did Dice Philosopher like, well, it's the same game as Battlefield 1.
And guys, what happened to the less is more? Dragon Ball Fighter Z, for its third season pass, had a big old update where everything was half off on the bars. That was a whole meme, guys. Half off. Your EX move didn't take a whole bar anymore. Your EX moves were literally half bar. You know how many times I could fucking spam fucking base Vegeta's kick move that comes from behind? His instant transmission kick move. That shit was flawless, fantastic, man. You know how many times I use Android 16 and his EX move where he just goes across the screen, grabs you real quick? Half off, guys. That's a little tweak for that game, and it switches up the gameplay so much. So why are you sitting there bashing on Last of Us Part 2? All because they just introduced a dodge button and a prone button. That little thing adds so much detail now. When I'm sitting there fighting enemies and I see tall grass, I go prone.
What makes me laugh the hardest is one dude said, I can't play this game because you gotta kill dogs, and I own a dog.
You gotta kill dogs.
And I was just laughing because I own a dog. I mean, I don't care. It's a video game.
Exactly.
That's one thing that I really want to emphasize. It's just a damn video game.
It's just like this right here. If it offends you, I'm sorry. It's just an opinion. For all you people out there attacking people in the comments for having opinions because they're having an opinion, but you don't like the way they feel, Same thing as talking shit about gameplay, man. A little tweak can affect the game a lot, guys. When you get that next power up in a game like a Man-Eater, where you finally get the ability to stun sharks and shit around, or when you're playing fucking Red Dead Redemption 2 and your dead aim is a lot longer, and you can get a lot more attacks. Doesn't that switch up the gameplay for y'all? That's little tweaks, right? And that's something beneficial for the player. You upgrading your stability really helps you aim a lot better with your guns. Your shotgun is just spray and pray, but when it comes to your actual, I think it's like a Magnum or a revolver.
Yeah, it's a revolver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like at the beginning, you couldn't fucking hold that shit like a bitch. You finally upgrade it, and it finally, gets to the point where it needs to be. I'm just tired of the community just bitching and bitching and bitching about gameplay on the wrong games. Every year y'all talk about Call of Duty need to switch up their gameplay, but they don't do it at all, but you still buy the shit out of that game.
Yeah.
You don't even complain about it. Why? Because we already know the control is kind of flawless already. It's cool, it's alright. But that all leads back into repetitiveness. I guarantee you one day Call of Duty is going to be like, oh, circle's no longer the crouch button. R3 is the crouch button, and circle button is the knife button. I know you could have changed it up in the other games to your liking, but this time, it's going to be really re-immersive. We're trying to lean to more what Battlefield was doing, and we decided to be like, hey, you know how Call of Duty 3 back in the day, you can get in the tanks? Now you can get in the tanks. Alright, Mark Cerny. Alright, Phil Spencer. Take it away, guys.
That made me laugh when I played Modern Warfare, the new Modern Warfare, and I played the new Domination game mode. It's pretty much Battlefield.
Yeah.
This dude was like, whoa, why is the map so big? You can drive tanks? I never knew, because I was like,
no game ever did that.
Battlefield has been doing this since 2003.
It's like Apple and fucking Samsung going at it. Fucking Apple's like already 5 years late, and they're like, wait a minute, Samsung's waterproof? Wait a minute. When was that? And Samsung's like, yeah, we don't have to market that because just like a camera on your phone, it should already be installed.
Yeah.
And then Apple was like, what should we do, guys? And like, well, half the world doesn't know about waterproof, so we're just going to release it and advertise it. Then they advertise in the whole media, on Facebook or whatever, the whole community for phones is just like, iPhone is waterproof? And Samsung people was like, our phone's already been waterproof. iPhone's waterproof? That's amazing. That's so, what's called innovated. People over there at Samsung's like, we already did that. We already did that. Ever since they lost Steve Jobs, it was over. Apple ain't nothing. Apple's a pear. Well, pears are better though. Apple is just it's that one that's been sitting so long that when you take a bite out of it, it's just straight powder.
It's a rotten apple.
That's it. Not even a rotten apple. Rotten apple, you're going to throw it away. The powdered apple is it looks good.
You know what apple is? You know how, this one, you have apples, in the fruit basket or whatever. And you pick it up, it looks good, and you turn it around, the other side is rotten. That's how apple is now.
Fucking worms like sitting there fronting on you.
Like one side looks good. One side looks good. And you pick it up and turn it like, yeah.
Anyways, guys, when it comes to gameplay, really get your facts straight before you start talking shit about other games. Because like we said in our previous video, next time when Rockstar brings out a game and the gameplay's still the fucking same, because here's something. Why does Arthur Morgan still run like he's like from Grand Theft Auto 3? Like when he's fully running, he's all like fucking choppy and shit.
I will give him credit. Did they update that?
They did update?
They changed it. They changed it.
I don't even know. I haven't played it
on
again.
The first, when it first came out the first month, he was so damn stiff. He's just...
Another thing, guys, you talk about games being linear and all that, but I know Last of Us Part 2 is linear, but at least they open up the world a little bit to let you go. Fucking, even though Red Dead Redemption 2 is open, it still holds you by the fucking hand.
Yeah, it won't let you approach missions different. That one mission pissed me off. We had to sneak into this warehouse. It's literally, you can get through the roof.
That's where I quit. That's where I quit. I stopped.
No, because it tells you where you go, but it's telling you to go the hard way. We purposely have to get to a shootout when you can just go to the wall right there at the entrance, climb up, get to the roof, and drop down to the window. But if you do that, you will fail because you strayed away from the mission.
Anyway, guys, I'm gonna lighten up the mood. Just like our videos, they're getting repetitive. Just like any other YouTuber, they're getting repetitive. But that's not the point, man. It's what you like. It's what you feel. If you like collecting stuff like I do in games, where you seek out the references and all that, and have a fun time with it, great. If you like Call of Duty, great. If you like Battlefield, great. If you like Need for Speed, great. You know? Let it all be. I mean, sitting here, Lumberjack, I look at his library, he plays more games, more diverse games than I do. I'm always up fucking Uncharted's ass. See, but you know, game is game, man. You like 2K, you like 2K. I mean, man, ain't no problem with that 2K. And I hope we hit 2K when it comes to subscribers. Please hit that like button. Maybe, you know, subscribe to us. The shit, man. Oh, Jesus. But we get down to it later, guys. Don't worry. Anyways, this is Lumberjack Koala. As always, I'm Koala.
Lumberjack.
And good night, guys.